Every one of them, basically, we create them. It's through our habits and negative bad thoughts, holding on to emotions, holding on to pain. It has to transform. So if you hold this stuff inside, it's going to transform into a disease. It didn't happen by accident. No one was out to get you. It's your lousy diet, your lousy thoughts, your lousy habits. That's what created the disease.
I can hear you just fine.
Oh, terrific. It's so nice to meet you guys, Sera and Michael.
Thank you.
Welcome to Interethers Interviews. Sera, you nominated Michael.
Yes.
He's your husband, correct?
Yep.
And you nominated him essentially because he has lived a life. He's lived a life with personal struggle, external struggle, and something that compelled you to want to, something about how he has landed where, Michael, where you are today, compelled you to nominate him because of the strength and kind of fortitude he's shown to you in the course of this thing that we called life.
Yes.
Michael, I'm just going to read you what Sera wrote to me. My husband, Michael, has lived a life. From losing his only parent at 12 to living on the streets, to addiction, to a career as an executive VP of an international insurance company, to retirement in his 40s with chronic disease and given a year to live on $12,000 a month of medications. This path led him to who he was meant to be and needed all those and more experiences as preparation. We now own a retreat space focusing on higher consciousness and the path from the heart to the crown. We work with plant medicines and holistic modalities to help those seeking discovery of their true self and how big they are. Our foundation is based on non-judgment, love, and freedom. He is highly knowledgeable on the path to ascension. Highly inspirational and real, leading from the heart always. That's what really struck me, Michael, about your story and why I really wanted to sit down with you. Interethers is really centered around the heart. I don't know you. You don't know me.
Nope.
I don't know anyone I interview, but it is this kind of unseen connection that we possess as human beings inside of our hearts and we feel inside of our hearts. And kind of the things that, as difficult as life is, encourages us, motivates us, inspires us to keep pushing forward despite how difficult life can be. So I think my first question, and let's go back to the start of you losing a parent at 12 years old. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
My sister and I were raised by our mother, and my mother had me when she was 16, so she started real early. Obviously, I think I was a bit of an accident.
No accidents.
They were not ready to be parents, but they did, the best they could. My father was out of the picture basically by the time I was 3.5, completely gone from the picture. So we didn't see him again until after my mother's death. It was a gathering, a family gathering from some of my mother's partner. She was living an alternative lifestyle, so I grew up with two women raising me, as my sister did, in the inner areas of Toronto, in Ontario housing and the like, by Regent Park. So not an easy childhood in the 60s for a young boy having two alternative parents. It wasn't the same as today. It was much more difficult.
It was quite conservative.
It was very conservative, and I had to do a lot of fighting, which wasn't that fun. We had some relatives out from British Columbia. They were celebrating, and my mother had just gotten her driver's license and had taken one of her partner's nieces out for a drive. And we noticed that it had been a long time. So I call him my brother. This would be my mother's partner's eldest son. Him, his girlfriend, and I jumped in a vehicle and went searching for, not expecting anything bad, and we came across the accident. The vehicle had flipped into the ditch, and Petra, my other brother from Connie's son,
Another mother.
Another mother. She was running up and down the street, a mess and totally in disarray. And we pulled over, and she was pointing and yelling and saying there's an accident. And I jumped out of the vehicle saying that's my mom, and they grabbed me and said, no, it's not that, Petra was your mom. And I knew different. I ran down, I did find her. Then I got dragged away, and I ran back to the farmhouse we were living in.
This was pardon my interruption, but this was your biological mother.
This was my mother, yes. This was my only parent, really, from childhood. And so that began a very big spiral for everybody. My mother's partner went back to alcohol. She was a recovered alcoholic, and she fell badly. So in about 6 to 8 months later, my biological father showed up with his wife, and my sister wanted to go with them. I was given the option whether or not I would join that family. Being over 12, I had the option whether I wanted to go. She did not. Mm-hmm. And because she had to go, I went, and we started a new life in a new Ontario housing complex in Toronto, out in the Scarborough end, where I spent my teenage years.
Ontario housing in Ontario is like subsidized low-income housing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Project.
Right. My husband recently passed away on January 2nd. Yeah, it's a massive hole for my family and I. We have 4 children, ages 12 to 18. So such a similarity, talking about losing a parent as a young age. It's an impossible thing for me to comprehend, losing this part of our family. I can only imagine what my children feel. We're coping, we're surviving, we're managing, we're doing all of those things. A second topic that we also have in common, alcoholism. My husband sadly was an alcoholic, which is the main reason why he died. You said that you had, you struggled with addiction.
Yes.
I
started drinking when my mother died at 12 years old.
Where did you get alcohol from?
Well, actually, a local priest in the little town we were in took us in, and we lived in his home. He ended up leaving the Catholic Church. because they gave him a hard time for bringing in this family that didn't even go to his church. So he took in myself, my sister, and Connie, my mother's partner, and her eldest son, Randy. And we spent about a year there. Well, he was an alcoholic and had alcohol everywhere. So it was not very difficult to find the alcohol. And then, of course, I had, an elder stepbrother who I loved dearly. It was my hero, and was only about 10 years older than me. It wasn't, 30 years older than me. And he sees this boy that he doesn't know how to care for, definitely struggling and in pain. And, he would give me alcohol as well, which did not help. By the time I was 15 years old, I was a full-fledged alcoholic and addict. Yeah.
Were you going to school?
Oh, yeah. I left school at 15, though.
You did?
Yeah.
And then,
Well, they asked me to leave, so I left.
and then school ended for you?
It ended formally for me. I've been to 3 universities since then, and blah blah blah. I showed up to Seneca College up here and told them I had my grade 12, which I only had my grade 9. They made me write a test. They said, let's see your scores. Oh, I lost them. They made me write a test. Apparently I got the highest mark ever, which was good. So I got in, and that made me eligible to go in. I've been to 3 different universities taking different things. I'm not very big on the formal education system. I believe we can educate ourselves much better.
Looking back at that time in your life now, from your viewpoint now, what do you think you were able to pull from that, or what do you think gave you a part of the foundation from that experience that you're standing on now?
I had some very special people in my life that gave me incredible strength. My mother's partner, Connie, that I've mentioned. Without her, I wouldn't be here today. She was a former sergeant in the Canadian military. She was strict, so created discipline. So I do have good discipline. Was very strong on morals, and even though we lived in an alternative family, this is not without morals, only to those who don't understand. So the upbringing was as good as anybody would receive from 2 loving parents. And we had that. We were dead poor. We lived in, projects, but we had love in the home, and the children were cared for and fed, and we had clothes on our back and everything. We didn't know we were poor. Let's put it that way. But we were dirt poor. Yeah. Now, we also did things. We spent every weekend at the Haven, which is the Street Haven. Peggy Ann Walpole opened this in Toronto. Connie, being a recovering addict, was one of the workers there. And we would spend every weekend there helping women from the streets and feeding them and taking care. So I was raised this way. Every holiday we spent there, serving food, cleaning up, doing these things. I was the only man, even though I was a boy, allowed in the place. This was a strictly women's place. And by 12 years old, I was not allowed to go back.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so that meant I became an adult, so to speak, and they don't have men there.
And we met as children there because my mom volunteered there.
Yes.
And we didn't know that till many years later. We just happened to be sharing a story with my mom, and the name Street Haven came up, and it was like a light bulb. Like, he knew it very well, and I knew it. And we
met when I was about 7. She was about 10.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And I literally have a picture somewhere of the 2 of us standing in the backyard, 3 of us, my sister's there as well, with this one sulking because she has to stand with the 2 little orphan kids.
It's funny how our paths cross, and all those years later. How long have you guys been married?
20.
20 years. 20
Yeah.
years. Very nice.
Yeah.
So that was some of the strength that I was able to draw on. But later, it has been the work that has enabled me to truly move forward. It has been the experiences of being a medicine holder and doing more than 400 ceremonies. I meditate 2 to 5 hours a day because this is my life. I'm not a project manager that does it on the weekend. Mm-hmm. This is 24/7 for us. So this is how I stay in the right place so that I can help individuals. And this deep work of energy work, meditation, ceremony work, and all the different modalities that I use. And we're surrounded here. We have a team of about 14 to 16 healers of some of the top people that you'll ever work with. And so I utilize them, which was something I had to learn, which was allowing people to help me. And nobody had to learn it harder than myself, okay, which has enabled me to help others on this path. And one of the greatest gifts given that helped me heal through these many, many ceremonies and meditations was coming to the absolute understanding there is no death. Mm. There is simply life with a body and life without a body. Mm-hmm. And life with a body and life without a body. And our loved ones are always with us, and we can touch base with them and tune in if we can get out of our small self. Mm-hmm. Okay, and we can talk with them and they can guide us, and they're there all of the time. And this was magic for me. Yeah.
Michael had correct me if I'm wrong with the number because it's a high one, about 8 near-death experiences prior to
13.
13. Okay.
13 in-body physical near-death experiences that I've been through. And then on medicine with the sacred medicine, I've gone through the veil in the death experience well more than 50 times.
What's the sacred medicine?
Sacred medicine is sacred mushrooms, ayahuasca, peyote, San Pedro. These are all of the natural medicines given to us by Mother to literally wake us up.
I've never experienced anything like that. I mean, I've dabbled in recreational drugs as a teenager. And
yeah, this is not that.
Yeah.
It's a completely different experience because your intention is completely... See, medicine and drugs are the same thing. Mm-hmm. What separates them is your intention. Mm-hmm. If you're using them to escape the world, they are drugs. If you're using them to heal and face your shit, they are medicine. Okay? So what?
And not accompanied by alcohol.
What? You can't add alcohol at a low vibration. You're not in the game anymore at all. But what I was going to say is that... The key to the medicine is to understand that all it's actually doing is turning off the part of your brain called the default mode network. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is the scientific term for your ego. Okay, and it turns that off and allows you to see beyond what your ego allows you to see. So your brain protects you from seeing and witnessing things that you're not ready for. Okay. Which is why we do what's called cognitive dissonance. We make up our own reality in our head. Mm-hmm. Our eyes, actually, our visual eyes bring in, I think it's 0.003% of the visible light spectrum. And this is our main sense that we use to understand reality. Well, it's 0.003% of the visible light spectrum, which is only a percentage of the actual energy spectrum. So the truth is you see nothing.
Yeah.
Okay? What the medicine does is it turns off this default mode network and allows you to see what's already there. It isn't doing anything else. It's just turning off the veil so you can see through.
I started this practice in 2020 during COVID. And I only started this practice because 2 girls that I went to high school with that we're not in communication, but they look absolutely beautiful. And that's the only vain reason why I began this practice. It's called The Class in New York City. But what it became for me was something I'd never experienced before and still practice on a daily basis. And it's really, it's extremely mindful, repetitive movement to music. But what you're asked to do is really go inside and ask yourself the relevant questions. Why are you resisting? Why are you not resisting? And you really tap into your emotional network and how that system is, working for you. If you can observe and utilize your emotional network, it's a little smoother navigating through the world and all of its joys and problems that you face on a regular basis. So I understand exactly what you're talking about, of plant medicines being this modality where you can tap into the true self.
So the key to understand plant medicine is this. It's the exact same thing as meditation. There is no actual difference. You're going to the exact same place as you go if you are a deep meditator. Now, I mean getting to theta, not alpha, which is the light meditation. It's getting into where Elvis leaves the building, okay? Your consciousness leaves your body. This is where you're going. Now, the best meditators will achieve this for 5 or 10 minutes. Medicine will take you there and drop you in for 2 to 5 hours. So you're going to do a year's worth of deep meditation in one day.
Yeah,
that's why it's so effective.
It frightens me.
Frightens everybody, by the way.
But the answer back to that is you're only being afraid of yourself.
Yep.
Of course.
That's the only one you're facing.
Yeah, I am scared.
It frightens everybody, and if it doesn't, there's a problem, and I'm concerned about you doing the medicine. You should have some respect. This is deep stuff that we're doing, and it's why you do it with the right people, the right holders. Don't do this at home on your own. It isn't if you're going to have a problem, it's when.
Right. What was your first experience with plant medicine? Where were you? What happened?
This is such a fantastic story. It's beyond words. I actually was doing a practice in the morning called my blueprints. It's like a goal keeping practice without the pressures of goals. So I wrote down that morning. I had been studying for years about these initiations and kept coming across the plant medicine, the animal venom, the extreme deprivation. And finally I said, okay, I'm going to give this a shot as the initiation. I'm going to find it. I chose plant medicine. And I wrote it down in my blueprints, and literally 3 hours later, my son-in-law walks into the door, into our house, and says to me, I just sold a house to a couple who will be starting an ayahuasca retreat space. And I've been thinking of going, will you come with me? And literally 3 hours later, I wrote it on page. I never met anyone who'd ever done any of these medicines, and I had no idea where to look. I mean, what do I look in the phone book? Right. And it showed up at my door 3 hours later, literally asking me to come. My son-in-law never came, unfortunately, and took a different path. But I went, and that became the beginning.
You went to also prove it wrong.
I went to prove it wrong. I went because I'd had my Kundalini awakening after the doctors told me I was going to die within 6 months to a year. They said, go ahead.
Why were you going to die?
Complications. I had been battling many different things. Rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, blah, blah, blah. And the medicines just kept piling up. And it got to a point where he called me in for a special meeting and turned the graph around and said, listen, we've been working on this for this many years and you're not getting better, you're getting worse. I expect you to be gone within 6 months to a year. Yeah. So it let it go. It says, we've got nothing else to give you. This is kind of in your hands now, and I had no idea what to do, so I went home and began meditating for the first time seriously. And when you're told you're going to die, you have motivation to let go. So it actually worked, and I had a Kundalini awakening, which I had no idea what that meant, and I thought I was going crazy. Went and saw a bunch of psychologists and doctors, and actually turned out to be better than I'd ever been. And that was the beginning of my path of searching. And years of study. I studied manically, ingesting information about consciousness at a level that was 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. Mm-hmm. And it kept coming back to the initiation. And this is why I decided, okay, you have to go test the initiation. And that's how I ended up at the retreat center. And I signed up for 5 ceremonies in 2 weeks.
Is that a lot?
Well, I don't do anything small. If I'm going to do it, I do it. That's a tremendous amount. That's what most people might do in a year.
Right.
Yeah. And that's someone dedicated. That's a dedicated person. They'll do that in a year. Yeah. But I went to, I believe wholeheartedly, you don't know anything if you try it once. If the experience is too new, that unless you try something at least 3 times, you don't really know. So, I asked them, if I were to go to the jungle and go to the jungle experience, what would it look like? And they sent me back, it'll be 5 ceremonies in the 2 weeks. And then we did 3 ceremonies of combo, which is a animal venom medicine. Mm-hmm. Help detoxify the body, amongst other things.
Which he really needed.
Yes.
I said he really needed to detoxify between the alcoholism and all the prescriptive drugs he was on. His body was loaded full of toxins.
So I went...
you were still drinking at the time?
Yes. And I went... when I went to my first ceremony, I had stopped drinking. I quit drinking. And that's that's about 9 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I haven't had a drink in 9 years. Showing up to this space continues in this crazy story. So I was initiated into the medicine world by a gentleman named Davi, who is actually one of the master medicine makers for the Santo Daime Church, which is the legal ayahuasca church worldwide. Mm-hmm. And Davi would be like a bishop in this church, like second from the top. Mm-hmm. So he initiated me into the medicine, and it was our first ceremony that I show up. It's their first ceremony. They don't know who's coming, so they wouldn't know me from any of the other 25 people showing up. And I show up and knock on the door, and I say, I'm here for ceremony. I believe I was the second one arrived. And Davi, who I'd never met, only speaks Portuguese, comes from Acre, Brazil. He's about 30 feet away down the hall, and he's eating rice and beans, and he looks up, and here's this stranger at the door, and nobody knows me. And he stops and he looks and he says, Mike? Now, my chin hits the ground. There's no way, how on earth would he have any clue who I am? And he puts the bowl down and he walks up to me, that crosses the 30 feet, and gives me this like 5-minute hug, and then holds me at arm's length and looks in my eyes and says, you Ogum. Which I have no idea what means at the time. I find out later what he's actually told me is your Archangel Michael.
Funny.
So this is how this kind of began. That first night was one of the worst nights of my life. I had my regular butt handed to me. It was ayahuasca. There was a lot of purging and a lot of cleansing from the years of alcohol and pharmaceutical that all had to come out. They bet I would never come back, because they had never seen anybody have such a hard night. I did, through my ego, make myself come back and finished all 5 by my second one. So why I went there was to prove that the hippies were wrong and you didn't need this medicine, that you could achieve these states without it, which I had done. And I literally, but the initiations kept coming up. So I went to prove it wasn't necessary. On my first evening, one of the worst nights of my life, I literally filled 12 purge buckets. Very few people will show up to do this work as sick as I was. on my second one that I finally got myself to go back to because I had no intention of returning. I did show up for the second one, and on the second one, after 6 years of chasing this Kundalini awakening, trying to get it to happen again, it finally happened on my second night of medicine.
What's a Kundalini awakening?
This is when all of your chakras actually light up and you actually reconnect to source and the energy above your crown, which you're cut off because most people actually hold their energy below their heart chakra. When you're holding it in your solar plexus and below, you do not have access to the source or your higher self. Okay, you're in your lower self, your low brain, your low body, your ego body that's filled. It looks at it as everything is danger. Okay.
Loaded question, because I don't know if there's a specific answer to it, but how does one access the source?
This is what I teach, and this is what we do. We access this through state, meaning meditative state. Now, there are many forms of meditation, okay? You don't have to, I sit and meditate 2 to 5 hours a day, but there's also breath work and there's yoga poses and things like this. They're all different forms of meditation. Medicine is a form of meditation. We call it mom and dad assisted meditation because it's really simply meditation, and the medicine's going to take down the barriers and allow you to go through this.
Where are you guys tuning in from?
We're from Prince Edward County, Canada.
We're about 3 hours north of Syracuse, New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put.
We get a lot of people that come in from the United States.
I don't know if can you see that? That was Michael when he was about to die.
Oh gosh, you're very swollen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was on prednisone for 5 years, which was really, really rough, amongst many, many other. They had me up to about $12,000 a month. I would take an injectable. I had muscle relaxants, nerve deadening drugs, painkillers. I mean, the list. Methotrexate, which was no fun. Some cancer stuff. Lots of different things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. You know, I went from, for the majority of my life, I've always been seeking since the day I can remember. I've been seeking, and I'll ask you this question. I didn't intend for it to land right here, but it's actually something I just started with the last 2 interviews, and I don't want you to think about it. What is the meaning of life, Michael?
That's a big one.
The meaning of your life is to find your purpose and walk it. And everybody's purpose is to bring the light to this world. Okay? Now, how they do it is individual and unique, and no two will do it the same way, and no two will walk the same path. So it's as unique as you are. And yet the goal is the same for every single one of us. It's to come and remember what you are. You see, you've come through a veil of forgetting and you forgot and you think you're this small human, and you're not. You are the universe. It's all one. Now, we have proven this with quantum physics. We just don't believe it. Every single spiritual leader that has ever come to the planet has told us the same thing over and over and over again. And we give them churches and then we just don't believe it. But this is your purpose. It's everybody's purpose. You have a purpose of why you're here. And it's your special way of sharing the light. Okay, now some people are going to be more physical. They're going to build systems to educate the children and feed the people. And others are going to be much more metaphysical. They're going to be working on higher ascension and getting people ready to ascend to the next level because they've finished learning this class, which is the heart class. Okay, it's moving from the third density of the solar plexus, which is humanity. About 80 to 90% of humanity holds their energy between the solar plexus and the root chakra.
Sure.
And this is why the world is the way that it is. As we move into the heart, which we are actually doing right now as we speak,
I agree.
this is my purpose, and it's why I'm actually here over this next year and a half, is to continue the teaching and then help bring a new energy grid into this world, which brings us to the world as a whole to a higher vibration. This is what we're here to do. You're here to bring your light to the world. Now, you need to find that light and understand your purpose. And the truth is, you're not going to know until you reach your crown chakra. Okay, up until then, you're going to make up your purpose. But when you meet your crown chakra, your higher self, this is the interconnection now between you and your higher self. You're in a body in the third density. Your higher self is actually in the sixth density, which is so much more advanced than us. We don't even have the math to explain it. It's your future self. It's everything you've already done and become. It knows exactly what you're here to do. And if you listen and turn off that ego that tries to govern everything and is doing, and thinking. You don't reach this knowledge through thinking. That's projecting. You reach it through receiving, through listening, not projecting. And so to go into these higher states and then listen. Like breath work. Medicine work is the same as breath work. It's exactly the same. It's only about 10 times more powerful. That's the only difference, okay? With breath work, you stay in control. With medicine work, you release that control.
Right.
Okay? But otherwise, it's the same thing. And we're here to bring our light.
And it lasts long.
Your special version of the light, okay? Because everybody is unique. None of us plug the hole the same way. And you are here to bring this light to the world. I believe wholeheartedly this is your purpose.
When people come to Harmony, one of the things that is they're coming here most of the time to experience medicine. We also do things without medicine, but that's
Lots
one of the
things.
main.
I'm a transformational coach. I'm a sound healer. I do readings. There's lots of different modalities we work with.
But one of the things that kind of put people off when they first come here the first time is our team is everyone living in the heart and above. Mm-hmm. And when you meet people that are living in this space full time without even knowing they're doing it because it's just who they are, and shining that light, it sets people back a little bit because they don't meet many people like that out in the everyday world. And there's a warmth and a beauty and an acceptance that they feel and a safety that they feel when they arrive because they've never been surrounded by so much, as I said in my introduction of Michael, non-judgment and love. And that's what we're really trying to get people to a point where they can all get to this state, just if they get to the heart. Trust me, you're looking at someone who was not on the medicine path at all. I thought he had just found a new drug to do, or a new addiction. And I've witnessed, and now I am on the medicine path for sure. This is part of my monthly practice, but I live in my heart most of the time now, and I can't believe that I wasn't here my whole life because it is such a more beautiful way of living, of truly living and viewing and accepting people and being who you are. There's a beauty in all of a sudden knowing what you're here for. And that is a continuous journey, but you have a baseline to work from. And I know what my gifts are now. And I know when I'm fully in them. And that's when magic happens around me because I'm living my purpose.
And you asked, what we are here for. I should segue this a little bit because, yes, you are here to walk your path and bring your light to the world. But before this can happen, you're here to heal. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. And that is the key thing. As you heal, everyone around you heals. Your family, your children heal. Everybody heals. Heal the mother, heal the world.
I have a great relationship with both of my parents today. I'm 48. But growing up and all I will say about that, since it's their story as well, so I'm protective of them, is it was very chaotic when we were growing up. And it it really has been the last 5 years. What it has essentially been is exactly what you're saying. It's been a healing journey. The class that I practice, it's about an hour long, and I found myself, and it's actually encouraged, after a series of intense cardiovascular movement, I found myself crying on my mat, crying, and a lot of outpouring of whatever was inside coming out. Over the past 5 years, it still happens quite a bit. Of course, since losing my husband, that energy is very much a part of my practice and caring for my children and being able to do those things. But I think when you talk about healing, and facing yourself, you really have to be, there was a lot of things that I had to be honest about. How I grew up. When I first had children, I had anger. I was very short fused. And, this was the energy that my 17 and 18-year-old now, and my younger kids too, was kind of growing up with. Mm-hmm. And I really had to face that part of myself in order to, and I don't like talking about it. And it is something that I had carried a lot of shame about.
We did the best we could with what we knew at the time. And for myself, that was perfectionism. I grew up knowing that being perfect was saying I love you from my father. Right. I've passed that on to, for sure, my oldest daughter, who always feels like she's never quite meeting my expectations. Mm-hmm. My biggest gift to myself now is first forgiving myself, letting my daughter know she's perfect, and she was always perfect, and she was never a disappointment. But also now living my life with less expectation.
Yeah.
And not beating myself up, because when you have such high expectations as a perfectionist, you're never content. You can't accept compliments when they come. You can't do anything because you're always saying what you didn't do right.
Right.
So that's another gift that I've received in this work, is forgiving myself for the mother I was at the time that put those things onto my children. Right. And now forgiving myself of the things that I'm just not hitting the mark on the way I like, because it affects the relationships around me when I go into that, what we call our shadow self. And that's what I enter into when I get in that state of, being trying to be perfect. Sure. So it's a beautiful thing when you can recognize it for what it is, forgive yourself, and do better.
Right. I can't count how many times I don't know why I started doing this, but I knew there was a part of myself that I did not like. And if I yelled or was short with my kids, later on that evening, I started to make a point to apologize to them. And I would just simply say, I have a lot to work on. And that definitely was not you. That was definitely me. And I'm sorry. And I said that many, many, many times.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. Too many parents do not understand that humility is a wonderful parenting technique. And admitting that we're wrong is a wonderful thing. And apologizing, because it teaches the children it's okay to make a mistake. You can recorrect
That's what the lessons are.
Okay. And too many parents and bosses and the world, we dig in because of pride. Mm-hmm. We won't allow the world to see us vulnerable. And I know this. That's the world I came from. And what did it do? Well, I was very successful. I broke every record in a 110-year-old company. And what did it do for me? Well, it put me on my knees and pretty much almost killed me. It was not the path that I was here to walk. And though I was good at it, making money isn't the end all to this experience.
Where did
it's actually a distraction.
Where did the pivot come from the corporate life to what you're doing now. It couldn't have been like on Thursday you had a corporate job and on Friday, you were doing the plant medicine, but
Actually, it was kind of like that. I had this Kundalini awakening that I mentioned. This is you can look this up easily. I mean, this is what's used in the East as a term. The Kundalini awakening, though, has been mentioned in every single practice that is out there. They may describe it as the rainbow body of light, the body of white light, the Adam Kadmon. These are all different terms for this, basically the perfected body. These are all basically terms for the same thing. I had this Kundalini awakening, and from that moment on, okay, everything changed in my life. Everything changed. So we used to kid everybody. My wife used to tell, Mike's favorite 4 food groups are beer, wine, meat, and cheese. Okay. And that was my diet.
Just filet.
And only filet. From that moment of having that experience, I have never touched one of those things. Not once.
Did it happen during a meditation?
Yes, you have to be in meditative state. Okay, if you're not in meditative state, you won't have this experience. The same way as you won't have many of these experiences. And it's learning to actually tune into this state frequently throughout the day for listening. And ultimately, you will get your energy to a state where you will become a multidimensional being, meaning you are in this physical body using your gut brain to run, make sure you don't get run over by a car. But at the same time, you're actually connected to the 3 main brains, the head, the heart, the gut. And so you're connected to your higher self. You're working with both of these energies at the same time. You're listening, receiving from your higher self, and then you're transponding or transmuting into the world from your brain and your body what your higher self has guided you to bring.
One of the best lessons Michael taught me in my transition into this work and through this work, I'm a doer. I just I get things done. And so I tend to do things very quickly most of the time, or I'm accomplishing a lot at one particular time. He taught me to sit back and respond and not react. And it sounds so simple,
Sure.
but it's a hard lesson to learn. And that goes with how I am as a mother, how I am in our business side of things. I tend now to sit back and take it all in, process the information, don't feel like I need to be able to give answers right away. And then once I've done that, I respond to whatever is in front of me rather than the initial reaction.
I've never experienced, I don't have the knowledge or the experience that you have, Michael, but I don't believe I've ever had a Kundalini awakening, but
You would know.
I probably would. But I will say that I've experienced more stability and peace in my heart in recent years than I ever have in my entire 48 years on the planet. My anxiety, not that I was ever an incredibly anxious person, but my anxiety, my fear-driven part of myself has become very quiet. And even when it's active, it's become manageable. Again, there's a lot more peace in my heart. And I think it has been through being quiet, meditative practices, getting to know yourself, but also accepting yourself in all forms.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you accept who you are and know who you are, and you talk about reacting to a charged situation, I've experienced that in the charged situations, sitting in the truth, sitting in your own truth and sitting in your own answers comfortably kind of disengages the charge immediately. That's what I've experienced in life. It makes me think about my husband, who never got to discover this kind of part of life of going into the self and healing the self. He passed away very fractured, very sad, very broken, and passed away feeling like he had failed. And I don't blame him or fault him for not seeing those things or not seeing what he had, or in recognition of or holding any of the beliefs that I have. I think it's sad that his life ended in the manner that it did. But for those individuals that are truly, truly, truly stuck, overwhelmed, in the heaviness of life, because it can be really, really, really difficult and really hard to get out of. And it's not an easy thing to kind of find what peace is, or remnants of peace in your life. So I think, what's your advice to the hopeless?
Oh, well, there's always hope. That's the first thing I'm going to say, is hope that makes this whole thing go. When we lose complete hope, it would all be finished in a blink of an eye. It's our hope that makes this thing move forward. Secondly, there are no mistakes. He made no mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no mistakes. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to experience. Okay, and a lot of that experience is going to be pain. This is where we learn from. We don't normally learn from winning. We learn from taking a knee. And so those of us that have a lot of lessons, like myself, we took a lot of knees. And I would suspect that your husband also was the same. He simply just got lost in it. I was there as well. And it was literally a 6-month frame where I could have went the other way completely. And then I would have been back to do it again. And I wouldn't have known the difference, because I came through the veil, I forgot again, and we start over again and we do the thing.
Do you do an intake?
Yes.
And then based on your assessment, you could potentially tell someone this is not the right time for you.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting.
I've actually, I had a gentleman here once, and I packed him up at ceremony and sent him home before ceremony started, because he just was not in the right place to come and do this level of work. And that was
interested.
Yeah, that's not a mean thing. This is a gift, because it would have traumatized him. He was not ready for that level of work.
It's protection. Protection. It's yeah.
And we're just as much on the opposite side of the experience. One thing that we really work hard on here that's included in your experiences here and always there for you, Michael works by donation. We want this work accessible to everybody. It's not about your income level and your disposable income. We're big on integration. So, the universe does not speak in English and to you at all. It speaks in numbers and colors and symbols and metaphors.
Yep.
So you need to have someone as experienced as Michael, who has gone to all the levels of the universes out there, who understands what this language is. Right. So he can help guide you in getting the most from your experience, and you not now using your mind and putting your thoughts into it, because that's where the misconception of getting the full healing from it can be. You need somebody that can do that integration work with you, to be able to start you on the right path for you to take this forward.
So we also do a 90-minute integration call after every ceremony.
I'm very rarely, they're usually more than 90 minutes.
About 90 minutes is now I'm going to give them things to look into and things to research. I'm not going to tell them what their story is. That's not my job. My job is to guide you. It is not to tell you. The first thing, when someone chooses to work with me, the first thing I tell them is, don't believe anything I tell you.
Right.
Okay? I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here to guide you and show you and lead you through the experiences so you come to your own conclusions. Now, they're going to be the same as mine, but it's better that you get there at your own, on your own way, through your own experiences, so that when push comes to shove and you need to stand in your authenticity, because that's what we're talking about. Your path is you. It's your authenticity. It's your passion. It's what you were here to bring into the world. This is going to give you that strength. Okay, you go through we mentioned the Kundalini awakening, and I want to actually add something to this. Some people don't go through a big experience, Kundalini awakening. They go through a very slow one over a long period of time, and they get to the same place. Okay? Now, the first thing to understand, the Kundalini awakening is not the end, it's the beginning. That's all. That's what it is. Now it starts. Now that you've reconnected, now the lessons start. Now the real learning starts. Now, so our small journey is from the root to the heart, and this is where you're getting rid of your own shit and your own conditioning and your fears. And everyone thinks this is the work. This is not the work.
Kindergarten.
This is kindergarten. This is nothing. Now you're going to start the work. The work is from the heart to the crown. And this is where you're going to find out how big you are. And this is far more monumental than that little ride you did down here that you thought was so big. This is nothing compared to finding out how big you are.
You sparked a little flame inside of me. It's just like, it's whispering to me right now.
I think that people that work with Michael or come here to do this work, that nothing other than maybe, I don't know, anorexia or something like that he hasn't experienced, but he was poor. He didn't eat well, so he may have not knowing it. Yeah, but he's experienced, he can actually say, like to you, I know what it's like to be an alcoholic. I know what it's like to lose a parent. I know what it's like to be successful. I also know what it's like to live on the streets in a stairwell. Like, he has lived so many different experiences to be able to actually relate fully to somebody when they come for guidance. He can understand. He's walked in those shoes. And I think that's key.
Well, I believe there's a big difference between wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah.
And knowledge is stuff that somebody's told you, or you read in a book, or you studied, or went to school. And here's the one problem. You don't know if it's true.
Right.
You think it's true, but you don't know it's true.
This knows if it's true.
So wisdom is a mixture of knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
And this is how we create wisdom. You need both sides. Okay, so you have 4 children, I think you mentioned. You can read all about having a baby and watch all the videos you'd like, and it's still not going to get you ready for having the baby. Okay, that's now that you have the experience, all of that stuff you read and watched actually has context, and it's actually useful now. But it wasn't actually useful until after the experience.
Right.
Now you have wisdom.
Right.
Okay, that's what this work is all about. It's about wisdom. Right. It's about experiencing your life and not hiding in your house and afraid to do anything. Go and live your passion. Okay, bring your light into the world. Bring your authentic self. That's who we need. We don't need your mother. We don't need your father. We don't need the school system. We already have them. We need you. Mm-hmm. And we need that authentic light that you are here to bring. Okay?
More. And with that, we're going to bring this to a close. Really, thank you guys for your open hearts. Thank you for trusting me with your story. Thank you for sharing everything that you've had. It's been an absolutely wonderful conversation. Sera, thank you for nominating your husband. You are 100% right. It's a wonderful, compelling story.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was really nice to meet you.
Oh, we love it. Thank you.
We look forward to everything that's ahead.
We'll stay in communication.
Yes.
Thank you.
And like Michael said, if you need to reach out,
I'm here.
I will. Thank you for that. It means a lot. Thank you.